This is the case of Mackenzie Shirilla. It was the early morning of July 31, 2022, in the quiet town of Strongsville, Ohio. The time was around 6:15 a.m. when a terrible crash was discovered. A car had slammed straight into a brick wall at the end of Progress Drive. It was a Sunday morning, calm, peaceful, until that moment changed everything. A motorcyclist passing by was the first to see it. He saw a destroyed car and quickly realized this was no small accident. He immediately called 911, not knowing that inside that car were 3 young people, 2 of whom would never make it out alive. When police and paramedics arrived, what they saw was shocking. The car was completely crushed. Inside, they found 20-year-old Dominic Russo and 19-year-old Davion Flanagan dead in their seats. But somehow the driver, 17-year-old Mackenzie Shirilla, was still alive, barely breathing. She was airlifted to the hospital in critical condition. Officers quickly noticed something strange. There were no skid marks on the road, no sign that anyone tried to stop the car. It didn't look like an accident. At the hospital, Mackenzie's parents, Natalie and John, were told their daughter had been in a terrible crash. But then came the news no parent ever wants to hear, that 2 young men had died and their daughter was the driver. Her mother cried, "Oh my God, please tell me this isn't real." Her father sat in silence. Their daughter had survived, but 2 families had just lost their sons. Police started investigating what really happened that night. Hours before the crash, Mackenzie, Dominic, and Davion had gone to a high school party to celebrate Mackenzie's upcoming 18th birthday. Around 3:30 a.m., they left to hang out at another friend's house, watch TV, and then decided to go home around 5 a.m. Dominic was supposed to drive, but Mackenzie insisted she wanted to. That decision would change everything. Cameras caught Mackenzie's car speeding down Progress Drive, a dead-end road that ended with a solid brick wall. The video showed her accelerating from 30 to over 90 miles per hour, and not once did she hit the brakes. Within seconds, the car smashed into the wall, killing Dominic and Davion instantly. At first, police believed it was just a tragic accident. Mackenzie had a health condition called POTS, which could cause fainting, and they thought maybe she passed out. But that theory began to fall apart when strange details came out. Friends told investigators that Mackenzie and Dominic had a toxic relationship, full of fights, jealousy, and threats. Dominic's brother said Mackenzie once told Dominic, "If you ever leave me, I'll crash the car." 3 weeks later, Mackenzie was out of the hospital and acting like nothing had happened. She didn't go to the funerals of Dominic or Davion. Instead, she posted photos online, bragging about money and even dressed up as a bloody corpse for Halloween, only months after the crash. Her behavior shocked everyone. Then, Dominic's parents brought police a video from his phone, recorded just 10 days before the crash. In it, Mackenzie was yelling and threatening Dominic, saying, "You think I'm joking? Open this door right now or there's going to be a serious problem." That was enough for police to reopen the case, this time not as an accident, but as a double murder investigation. As detectives dug deeper, they learned Mackenzie had driven that same road 7 times before the crash, as if she was practicing. They found text messages where she had threatened Dominic, and videos of her speeding, laughing, and bragging about driving recklessly. Every new piece of evidence painted a darker picture. This was no mistake. On November 4, 2022, over 3 months after the crash, police went to Mackenzie's home and arrested her for 2 counts of aggravated murder. Her parents were devastated and begged to see her, but it was too late. The girl they thought was a victim was now accused of killing her boyfriend and his friend. Mackenzie's trial began in 2023. There were several hearings, and in the final trial, she decided not to face a jury. Instead, she let a judge decide her fate. Her defense lawyer argued that Mackenzie had lost consciousness because of her medical condition and that it was a tragic accident, not murder. But the prosecutor said she had planned everything, calling her literal hell on wheels. They said she knew exactly what she was doing and wanted Dominic dead. The courtroom was emotional. Dominic's mother and family cried as they listened to the video of the crash, the sound of the engine speeding up, and then the silence after impact. The judge said, her actions were controlled, deliberate, and purposeful. This was not reckless driving, this was murder. On August 14, 2023, the verdict was read. Mackenzie Shirilla was found guilty on 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, 2 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide, 1 count of drug possession, and 1 count of possessing criminal tools. She was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison and is currently held at the Ohio Reformatory for Women. She will be eligible for parole in October 2037. This case left two families broken and a whole community shocked. Was this the act of a broken-hearted teenager, or a calculated killer? What punishment do you think is fair? Tell us in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more courtroom stories.